G'day, this is Simon from the Brackets here back at South OC Cars and Coffee. You know, I said we were going to do that Lancia as Car of the Week, and then I spoke to Tom, who's the owner. He also saw the car behind me and said, hey, don't give it to me, I got it a couple of weeks ago. Give it to this car over here. I'm with Steve. He owns this Car of the Week. What is it, Steve?
It's a 1961 New Yorker four-door hardtop.
It is amazing. If you just watched the walkthrough video I just did, you would have seen this thing. I was going all over this. So now it's Car of the Week. It's very, very cool. Let's swing the camera around and take a look. So Steve, when did you buy the car? How long have you owned it?
July of 1999.
So you've had it for a decent amount of time.
Yeah,
nearly 20 years. Yeah.
I traded a '56 DeSoto Adventurer and some money for it. He gave me money and the car.
Really? And I tell you what, I mean, I'm sure the DeSoto was a great car, but I'm looking at this now. You know, as Tom said when we were speaking about it before, Tom Shaughnessy, he said to me, cars like this you don't see very often, and I totally agree. I mean, do you know how many of them are around?
You know, I've owned this one 20 years. I had a two-door before this and a station wagon, and I had those probably 30 years, and they don't come up at all. Parts are hard to find.
I bet they are.
It was a 300.
Yeah,
it was a 300. That most of the New Yorkers became 300s.
Ah, so they were based on the 300, and then what was different between the 300 and the New Yorker?
2 4-barrel carburetors instead of one.
Okay.
Basically, 4 bucket seats. A little different. The 300 was a gentleman's race car.
So there's some really cool things about this particular car that I noticed before. One of the first things is these powered swivel seats. So to get out of this car, you basically, the seat swivels around for you so that you can easily get out of the car, which is such a great idea.
Yeah, it was an option from 59 to 61.
Right.
Although it doesn't show in most of the 61 books because it was phased out by then and very few cars had it. This car is very well optioned.
I mean, there's some of the things I love. I mentioned this in the walkthrough video. I love the fact that a lot of the Mopars of this era use that push button transmission. You can see it there. So there's no column shifter or floor shifter.
Right.
It literally is a push button selector. You can see reverse, neutral, drive, second and first. The other thing I love about this particular car is that the gauge cluster is three-dimensional. This is, you know, the wrong terminology to use, but it's very space age. At the time, a lot of the automotive market was getting inspiration from what was happening with the space race and you know, the whole futuristic thing. And you look at that gauge cluster, how it's three-dimensional. The fuel gauge and the temperature gauge are sitting forward of the amps and the oil pressure, which is cool. Obviously push button radio, air conditioning as well. I love the fact that the mirror is actually on the dash, not on the roof, and it's got those swivel vents up there for the air conditioning. It's just so many little things about this particular vehicle. And you're saying it's all original. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
52,000 miles.
52,000 miles. Is this luggage part of it? Did it come with it? Or
No. This luggage came with my 356 Porsche.
Oh, really?
And I had it sitting in my garage, and I went online and I looked up what 61 Samsonite looked like, and this was it. So I figured, okay, it looks like it fits in this.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think there's 8 pieces in there.
Mind you, somebody who owns a Porsche would probably pay a fortune for the luggage alone these days.
It's not real luggage.
Okay.
No, that's why.
So
original jack instructions.
Yeah, look at that.
Floor. I did carpet the floor because the original mat died.
Yeah, okay, but that's
all original paint inside.
I mean, just the lines of it are so imposing. And what's really interesting, I mean, the Cadillacs, this is, in terms of its industrial design, is probably a little bit behind the 8 ball. If you look at where Cadillacs have moved on to in sort of this era of early 60s, this was more what they were doing in the late 50s, 50, 58, 59 or whatever. So this was still, you know, and particularly when you looked at where the Continentals were by the late 50s, early 60s, this car was really hanging on. It was the last car to hang on to that look of the big fins and the just that really imposing front end and everything. Everything else had sort of got narrower and skinnier. This hadn't, and I think that's probably one of the appeals of this car, is that it actually looks older than it is. You'd expect it to be a.
Most people say 57.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have said probably 58, 59. Such a worthy car. Is there anything else about it that you'd like to share with us about this particular vehicle that you found surprising or that you find really inspirational about the car?
Well, having a lot of different makes and models of cars from this era, I can honestly say that Chrysler outdrives any of them as far as handling, performance. You know, it just seems so strange. I had a 57 and 58 Mercury. They had the Ford characteristic that went about them. This just has a characteristic all by itself. in the way that it drives and handles and everything else, and then the lines and the look, you just don't see anything like it.
No,
You know, that's what always, everywhere I go, people just they can't believe it. It's such an odd-looking car.
it is really amazing. And I
This
didn't know.
was the last of Virgil Exner, for designer for Chrysler, and this was his last hurrah. The next year, Elwood Ingle came over from Ford Motor Company, and if you look at every Chrysler, they look like a 61 Lincoln.
Yeah,
because
right.
He was the designer of that, and he flattened out the sides, put the trim the same,
Yep.
you know, so they had that look about it. I heard that.
So they're really
different.
really futuristic car for their time. The Continentals, when you look at them, they were the first cars to go that long skinny design.
Yeah.
So I can see why a car manufacturer would want to poach him and get him to do the work from them. Now I didn't ask you what engine this had in it.
413.
413.
413 4-barrel dual exhaust.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, Steve, as our winner of Car of the Week, you get this Mcguire's complete kit. You are so worthy of it. It's got the polishy sponge, it's got the cleaner wax, scratch remover, car wash, glass cleaner, interior detailer, and hot shine foam. You can keep this beautiful car looking the way it does now, which is such a worthy winner of Car of the Week. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.